Hey, what's going on, guys? So we got a really interesting story here. It's about a young Ukrainian girl. Her name's Natalia. She was adopted by a couple named Michael and Kristen Barnett. Here's Kristen right here. They adopted this girl, and supposedly when they adopted her, the paperwork said that she was 6. But they claim that she's actually 22 or 23. We can just read from this title from this article here. It says, exclusive, she tried to kill us. Indiana mother who adopted 6-year-old Ukrainian girl with dwarfism has been charged with abandonment but claims her daughter was found to be 22-year-old sociopath masquerading as a child. So this gets really weird quick because this article, it mentions the movie Orphan. If you haven't seen that movie, it's about right here. It's about a girl that gets adopted into a family, but she actually is a 33-year-old woman and tries to kill all of them. And this is kind of the same thing that's going on in this story. Um, so so the in the paperwork it claims that she's 6 years old, and there's also bone density tests that experts took that shows that she's 8 years old. But the mom just has to disagree. Here it says, police say that bone density tests carried out in Natalia in 2010 showed that she was 8 years old then, and that in 2012, tests showed that she was around 11. That same year, however, the Barnetts had her age officially changed to 22 years old, after a judge agreed to their petition to have birth date updated in 1989. So there's reasons why the parents went to the judge, and the judge agreed to have her birth date changed from 2003 to 1989. So one of these reasons, well, there's multiple reasons listed. One of them was that she was supposed to be growing, but she wasn't growing at all. She's a dwarf, and supposedly she's 6 years old, so she should be growing still. And there was no difference in height noticed over the 3-year span that Natalia was in Michael and Kristen Barnett's custody. Also, the teeth. The parents claim that they were adult teeth, and that she never lost any. Everything was already pre-grown in. I have pictures here. We can kind of take a look at the teeth. In my opinion, these look like children's teeth. For a 6-year-old, this looks about right to me. But yeah, that's about all I can say about that. It looks like kids' teeth to me. But when you compare these two pictures here she looks pretty young, and here she looks much older. This looks like it's very believable that she could be 22, 23 years old. I don't know if it's just because of the scarf and and the hairdo. Maybe it looks like she's got makeup, boots. So it's kind of like an adult outfit. So it makes it fairly believable that she's 22, 23. But when you go over to this picture, and there's other pictures too, but this one she looks much younger. But that also could just be because she's wearing a pink princess crown, and she's got on 6-year-old clothes and no makeup. So I'm not sure really what to make of this. If I had to go by a hunch, I'd just assume she's 6. But there's also another thing that the parents found out. The parents found out when one night when the mom, Kristen, when she was giving Natalia a bath, she noticed that Natalia had full pubic hair. She had a full bush. And this understandably kind of shocked her. It would definitely shock me too if I adopted a 6-year-old and I found out she had a fully grown pubic hair. That'd be kind of disturbing. So on top of all these three things that she wasn't growing, her adult teeth pretty much seemed set, according in their opinion, and she also had a full bush. They were assuming that, yeah, she's definitely not 6 years old. She's older than this. And then there are also a couple other things, like her vocabulary was a lot more extent than any 6-year-old anybody's ever heard, and that she wasn't really interested in hanging out with kids her own age. She wanted to hang out with other older kids, making comments like, "Man, I don't know how you can do it." When Natalia is talking to Kristen about her watching over other kids at their at-home daycare. But anyways, they started getting a little suspicious about her age, and then things started to get a little bit weirder, a little bit creepier. It started to go more into the realms of the orphan movie. So let me see if I can find the page. Yeah, so after a while, she started doing some like violent stuff. Right here in this article from the Telegraph says, quote, "She was hiding knives in our couches. She was talking about how she was going to kill family members. She put chemicals in coffee. She was jumping out of moving cars. She was smearing blood on mirrors. She was doing things you can never imagine a little child doing. She would even stand over people in their sleep. She would be standing in the middle of the room and say, 'I'm waiting for the right time.'" So this is so weird, because if this is true, if what they're claiming is true, then this is like the most demented little 6-year-old I've ever heard of in my life. This would be a nightmare, because it's not your own child. It's an adopted child from Ukraine. And in the other article, in this UK Daily Mail article, it mentioned that she was drawing pictures of herself stabbing the family and like rolling them up into blankets and burying them in the yard. So it's just like super, super, super disturbing. Now, given the fact that she is a dwarf, I imagine being able to accomplish these things isn't probably very realistic. In some of the articles, it noted that, I'll just give the name of her disability, if I can say the word right. It's called spondylopediphyseal dysplasia, and it's pretty much just the name for the conditions of short stature, skeletal abnormalities, and vision problems, bone growth. But she wasn't able to walk, really. She could. Well, the family found out eventually that she could walk on her own, but in the paperwork, it said that she wasn't able to walk. And that was one of the other things that kind of convinced them that she wasn't who she said she was. Because one day, I guess they were just at the beach, and she asked these guys here, Kristen and Michael, to pick her up so that they can drop her, or put her in the water so she can swim around with her new brothers. But they were distracted or something, so they didn't. But she just got up on her own and just started walking. In fact, there's a picture. There's a picture, if I can find it, of her, and she's got on like these little casts on her feet. Not casts, right here. There it is. I shouldn't say casts. I don't know what you call these. There's like these little boots that create stability for your legs and your feet, so that for people with like fragile bones that are susceptible to breaking their legs or whatever part of their body. So obviously from this, seems as though she wasn't really able to walk, but apparently she got up and walked on her own, and that kind of stunned the family too. Anyways, after all this, and after all the creepy things that was going on, all the death threats and attempts to kill the family, and having a full bush without growing an inch, they assumed that she wasn't who she said she was. That she wasn't a 6-year-old. That she was actually much older. So they ended up taking it to court. And the judge, like I said earlier, changed her birth date from 2003 to 1989, making her 22 or 23 years old. So she was, the family being disturbed about all the stuff that was going on, they ended up taking her to the St. Vincent Indianapolis Stress Center, and she would spend days or weeks there to get psychiatric treatment. And while she was there, Natalia noted to the doctors that she wasn't remorseful at all for all the crazy ass shit she did, and she just thought it was a fun game. And I guess after spending some time there and becoming a threat to some of the other inpatients, she was moved to a state-run psychiatric unit because she was a threat to others. And so she spent time there. And after the state recognized her as an adult, she was then eligible to care for herself. So she was no longer under the custody of these two here, Michael and Kristen Barnett. So what the family did, was they got her out of that state-run what do you call it? The state-run psychiatric unit. So once they got her out of the state-run psychiatric unit, they got her an apartment and got her set up with food stamps, a social security number, got her signed up for benefits, got her an ID, all the stuff you really need to kind of survive. This apartment was paid for, food stamps provided her food. The only thing that it didn't mention in any of these articles is whether or not that she was provided with an assistant to kind of make sure she was okay. Since she has these disabilities, you would imagine that she would have an in-home nurse or caregiver that would help her out with basic, things in life. Apparently not. Maybe it did. I just didn't mention it in any of the articles. But just like how she was causing problems at the state-run psychiatric unit, she started causing problems at the apartment too, and got kicked out. So the parents had to, or at least Kristen did, she got Natalia a new apartment, and paid for her whole year of, prepaid the whole year of rent for her. But her son, side note, very interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard of Jacob Barnett. He's like this child genius prodigy, and he, like, at the age of 14 or 12 or something, he was going to college and taking like these crazy math classes. There's YouTube videos of him when he's a kid. I think here's one right here, of him just doing some like pretty crazy math, and he became really kind of like famous for the most part. And this is the son of this family, and so this was Natalia's brother for 3 years. So kind of interesting how much attention this family is getting, not only from the son for being a genius, boy genius it says, but also for Natalia, for this kind of craziness going on with death threats and having a full bush. So very interesting. This family has a lot of attention on them. But yeah, so after Natalia got moved into the second apartment, it was time for her son to go to some special college up in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. So the mom and the sons moved up there, and they left Natalia down in Canada. and the husband Michael stayed down in Indiana, where they were living previously, because the couple got a divorce. So then the mother and the father were both contacted by the Tippecanoe Sheriff's Office, and the Sheriff's Office claimed that they abandoned Natalia, who was, in their opinion, a minor. So, the parents just tried to deny it, but eventually the dad claimed that he actually knew all along that the girl, Natalia, she really was young. She wasn't an adult. And that Kristen was just telling Natalia to tell other little girls that she just looked young, but was actually much older. Now, obviously, Kristen Barnett denies all of this. And in fact, Michael Barnett actually says he didn't say that. And this is that quote that Kristen was telling Natalia to say that she's older than she really is. Michael and his attorney claimed that this is what the Tippecanoe Sheriff's Office has in their records of him saying, but apparently the Michael's lawyer has been present with Michael at every single meeting with the sheriff's department, and Michael and his lawyer say that he never said that. So we have a lot of really weird stuff going on. So it looks like right now Michael and Kristen aren't facing any charges, but I think that the police are pretty much going after them, because the police believe that she is young because of the bone density tests, saying that she's 8, 12, depending on the year that she gets tested. But now Natalia is living with another family. If I can find photos here of her with the new family. Oh, I don't think I have any photos in here. But she got a new family, and Kristen Barnett says, well, I feel sorry for that family because she's scamming another family, pretending to be 6 years old again, or whatever. But I actually saw a picture of Natalia and with the new family, and she looks much older. Like, her face is much larger. Yeah, right here, look. See if I can enlarge this. Oh, don't take me to the webpage. Just show me the image, please. Forbidden. Oh, jeez. Alright, this is getting out of hand really quick. Maybe I can zoom in. Whatever. I don't know if you can kind of see this. Her face looks much older. I guess that's the same girl. This is apparently Natalia Barnett. She looks much older. Now she looks like a teenager. But I don't know. You guys can make what you will out of the story. I personally think she's younger. Like, she actually is a 6-year-old. I mean, look, her teeth looks like children's teeth. She looks like a kid. It's just really in this one photo here where she looks like she could be an adult. So I don't really know who to believe. I think she's actually a kid, and the parents actually just left a 9-year-old child at the time in an apartment all by herself to take care of herself while she has disabilities. But again, I don't know. Make of it what you will. Alright, that's about all. I got more videos coming up later. This is actually my first video, and I know it was shit, so you gotta give me a break. Make fun of me in the comments if you want. Adios.